Now the internal structure of the kidney. So you see this is divided into three types. Internal structure of the kidney is divided into three parts. Number one, this is the outer one. This is the outer reddish brown in color cortex. This is cortex. Now this inner one which contains this pyramid-like structure, this is called renal medulla. Divided into three parts: medulla, cortex, medulla, and this is the part in between both, or extended from the hilum of the kidney. This is the renal sinus. This space is called renal sinus. Renal sinus. So it's divided into three parts: cortex, medulla, and renal sinus. Now, renal cortex. First we learn about renal cortex. So renal cortex. It's further divided into two parts. The first is renal caps, or we call it cortical arches. Renal caps or cortical arches or lobules. Cortical arches or lobules. It's that part which cover the pyramid. The part of the cortex which cover the pyramid. This base of the pyramid. This is called cortical arches. The part of the cortex which cover the pyramid is called cortical arches. Renal caps, cortical arches. Now the second part is the renal columns. This part is present in between the pyramids. So each pyramid with its overlying cortical arch, it's called lobe of a kidney. It's called lobe of a kidney. Now after renal cortex we have renal medulla. So renal medulla composed of 10 to 12 pyramids. Some books written is 8 to 12, some 10 to 12 pyramids. 10 to 12 pyramids. These are the pyramids. These are triangular inverted pyramids. On the apexes of the pyramids there is renal papilla. At the apexes of the pyramids there is renal papilla. This renal papilla is indented into the minor calyx. This is the renal papilla. This one is renal papilla. And the structure in which it's enters, this structure is called minor calyx. It's a part of pelvis. Okay. Now come the renal sinus. It's a cavity which extends from, or space which extends from the hilus of the kidney into the kidney. It contains branches of renal artery, tributaries of renal vein, and renal pelvis. The renal pelvis further divided into major calyx, about 2 to 3 major calyx. This is the renal pelvis. This is the renal major calyx. This one, major calyx. These 2 to 3 major calyx further divided into 7 to 13 minor calyx. 7 to 13 minor calyx. Major calyx, minor calyx. This is the minor calyx. Then this minor calyx expanded to indent 2 to 3 renal papillae. So, which order renal pelvis arranged? Renal pelvis, major calyx, minor calyx, renal papilla. This is this part of the renal sinus. If functionally we see the kidney functionally has two parts. Kidney functionally has two parts. Look at this figure. This shows the arterial supply and venous supply of the kidney and the nephrons of the kidney. So physiologically, kidney is divided into two parts, or microscopically we can say it's divided into two parts. Each pyramid contains thousands of uriniferous tubules, and a kidney composed of 1 to 3 million uriniferous tubule. This whole structure is uriniferous tubule. This uriniferous tubule is further divided into two parts: excretory parts and the other is collecting part. Excretory part and collecting part. Excretory part is a part which is involved in the excretion of the urine, filtration of the blood, and then transported to the urine. And the collecting part is that part which collect the urine and transfer it to the ureter, then to the blood. This is the collecting part. Okay, the part of the kidney which transfer the urine from the excretory part to the ureter. So excretory part, it's further divided into two components. It's further divided into two components. One is renal corpuscles and the other is renal tubule. Look at this figure. We have this part, this portion. Look at this portion. This portion or this portion. Both are similar. This portion is the renal corpuscle. And this excretory part, also called nephron. This excretory part, it's a renal corpuscle. This one, this portion. It is a filtrate part. It filtrates the blood it filters the urine from the blood. This part. Filtrate part. It's composed of glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. It's a high pressure part. And the remaining part, this part, and this part. This is called renal tubule. This part is renal tubule. It's composed of proximal convoluted tubule, PCT. This is the proximal convoluted tubule, PCT. This is the distal convoluted tubule, DCT. And this one, this U-shaped tube, is called loop of Henle. So excretory part divided into two parts: renal corpuscles and renal tubule. Renal corpuscle composed of glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, which are also called Malpighian body, and the renal tubule, which composed of PCT, DCT, and loop of Henle. This part is functionally a filtration part, filters the blood, and this part is selective absorption. This part is responsible for reabsorption. Now comes to the collecting part. It is the part which connects the distal convoluted tubule to the collecting duct. This point, this part. which connect the distal convoluted tube up to the minor calyx. This part is called collecting path. It's the junctional tubule from the distal convoluted tubule of one nephron from the distal convoluted to the other nephron. So these tubules combine to form ducts of Bellini, which is called collecting duct. There are many nephrons which here, which combines to form this one. This is called ducts of Bellini. Ducts of Bellini. These ducts open into the minor calyx through renal papillae. Now there is a structure, there is a mechanism, there is a structure is responsible for certain mechanism. This structure is called Juxtaglomerular Apparatus. What is Juxtaglomerular Apparatus? It is a structure which is formed at the vascular pole of the glomerulus. You see, this is glomerulus. This has two poles, vascular pole and Bowman's capsule pole. This is the vascular pole and this is the glomerular, which is the Bowman's capsule pole, filtered pole or vascular pole. So in this pole there is a structure is formed, apparatus is formed, which is related to the ascending limb and distal convoluted tubule. So juxtaglomerular apparatus is a part which extends from the afferent arteriole towards distal convoluted tubule. This whole part is called juxtaglomerular apparatus. If this is the glomerulus, so this whole part up to there, including this arterial system and this nephron, this composite structure is called juxtaglomerular apparatus. It comprises of three structures. Macula densa. These are the altered cells recorded in the distal half of the loop of Henle, ascending limb of loop of Henle and distal convoluted tubule. This is located in distal convoluted tubule and ascending limb of loop of Henle. Ascending limb, macula densa, first part of the juxtaglomerular apparatus, located in distal convoluted tubule and ascending limb. The second part is the juxtaglomerular cell. This is located in the afferent arteriole, in the tunica media of afferent arteriole, middle layer of afferent arteriole. Then the third part, this is a agranular cell, some agranular cell which is called extraglomerular part, some agranular cells which is present in between these two parts. So these are the three structures. So what is the function of the juxtaglomerular apparatus? Its function is that it's control the secretion of sodium. Function is that it's control secretion of sodium in the urine and also maintain blood pressure and blood volume. Maintains blood pressure and blood volume. These cells secretes renin, so they are the part of renin system.